Ronald Raygun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hello?
Hey, hello?
Is this me?
Yeah, it is you.
Oh, hey.
Hey, I'm glad you called. Why don't we go through, why don't you say your piece, and then you can tell me the many, more than many, can't remember what it was. Things to critique me on, I think it was, you said, on Twitter?
Well, yeah, it just drives me nuts that these people keep whiffing on all the reasons why you suck.
Well, all right. Okay, fair enough. I can understand that frustration. Well, why don't you say your piece first, and then you can address my...
Okay. I want to talk about Chris Christie, because this whole idea that, like, the Republicans are ready for, like, a serious politician reminds me of the local talk radio was playing a Trump speech on 9/11, and they cut away from it, like, midway through, and the local host was like, yeah, Trump's not really at his best when he's doing this sort of thing. We kind of want him to be improvising, just talking some shit, basically. There's really no appetite for, like, a guy who's going to stand up there and give, a boring speech about the deficit or whatever. I don't think there's any appetite for that on the right. And it got me thinking a little bit about how during the primary, if you remember, for a long time, nobody thought he had a chance. And during these debates, they all treated him with kid gloves.
Now, hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second. Do you want to amend that? Nobody thought he had a chance?
You thought Scott Walker was going to win, so you didn't think he had a chance.
No. Prior to Trump, Scott Walker was out almost before Trump got in.
So anyways, the point is that the thought for a long time amongst people who are not as smart as you and I,
thank you,
was that these people were going to lay in the wake and take his supporters. So they wanted to sort of, treat him with kid gloves. And it wasn't until later on that Marco Rubio tried to say he had a small dick or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And I always thought that, like, if there, what if Chris Christie had really gone after Trump early on, like that would have been the time to do it. Do you think that would have made any kind of difference, or was he sort of just destined to take over this thing? I think they could have really. I think Christie would have been the one to do it too.
I think you're right.
To make fun of him, to belittle him and that sort of a thing. But none of them did it. They let him.
Well, first off, they were following the primary rubric and principle of conservative ideology, which is what is best for the individual is best for society. And they all were pursuing their own personal self-interest. And we saw the problem with that because it was all in their best interest not to alienate Trump's base. But yeah, I suspect that had they gone after him early, that it would have been a different story, because it would have immediately sort of like given the press like the ability, even the right-wing press, to knock him out of the race.
And there was right-wing press that wanted to, like, a lot of those
without a doubt, without a doubt. And you would have gotten stories like, is Donald Trump going to embarrass himself anymore? Boy, but they all laid off of him, and then he just gained momentum and became untouchable. But
just from a personality though, like, and I guess, delivery perspective, I think you're right with your instincts that he would have been able to go to toe with him in the kind of WWE style, I guess.
I don't think that would have been it, frankly, because the bottom line is the Republican Party had for years, even going back to George W. Bush, who was the CEO president, and just all the stories that Paul Ryan told about, brown bagging it and this and that. They had for decades built up a catechism, which is that if you're poor, you are unrighteous, and the inverse is if you're rich, you are the most righteous. And I think we were saying just like, like the day that Donald Trump announced was like, he's going to get on the debate and he's going to say, I'm a billionaire. You are not. Therefore, whatever I say automatically trumps you.
I'm not saying that it would have worked. I do think, though, maybe Christie could have elevated himself because stylistically it matches up a little bit more with what Republicans, they never knew they wanted, but that's what they want.
I think I don't even think it's so much that they go head to head. If they had one or two of them or three of them shown that they were not afraid or deferring to Trump, that in and of itself would have been the thing, because he was not strong enough at that point to deal with the sort of surrounding narrative that would have been developed that nobody's afraid of him. Yeah. But the point is they came in so late by the time it happened that everybody knew they were afraid of him already. Everybody knew that they were afraid of the Republican base. And
is Chris Christie on your Mount Rushmore of Trump-Cucks?
I mean, who's bigger?
No, Romney and Ted Cruz.
I guess, but Ted Cruz,
Mike Pence, and Little Marco. That's Mount Rushmore.
Well, Mike Pence, though.
No, Lindsey Graham. Sorry. Yes.
Lindsey Graham is up there. But let's be clear. I mean, nobody served as a personal valet more than Chris Christie. So it really depends. Like, okay, Ted Cruz did a 180, but he just threw his wife under the bus, right? Like, I mean,
are you kidding me? That image of Ted Cruz phone baking for him, that would be on the Mount Rushmore of Trump-Cucks.
Well, let's be clear. Let's be clear. There's 5 images, right, on Mount Rushmore?
No, 4. 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore.
4, yeah. Roosevelt, Washington.
Whatever. I think we should give it back.
Who knows? Yeah, we should.
I'm including Trump's picture on this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, where he's just like punching the beach in the face.
But I think, honestly, I mean, is not Chris Christie the greatest Trump-cuck?
No, it's definitely Cruz, but okay.
He was the first. Well, I mean, Cruz, because you have the wife angle, which really...
Well, I guess. I mean, if you're going to be really specific to the...
And because Cruz went down swinging, or Cruz was the last one, so he was the last man standing to be humiliated for the longest period of time.
Look at this. Ronald Raygun jumped off the phone already. He must have gotten a call from a client, or he's just going to drop that and run away. Classic. He didn't want to be held to account for that tweet that he tweeted out.
You're not serious about the Mount Rushmore methodology if you don't include Lindsey Graham and
No, I agree with Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz. No, I think they're there. I just think that, like,
in the draft, you're going to take Chris Christie first?
I mean, the guy was like his personal valet.
Okay.
And he did get COVID from him.
Honestly, like...